Good evening. Welcome again to our Thursday Mindfulness ZEN. So tonight we're going to begin with some metta meditation, and then after that we will discuss the final class of our Zen and Calming Our Anxiety talk series. So this form of meditation, metta meditation, or also known as loving kindness meditation, was taught by the Buddha as an antidote to fear. So that's why it's very useful for us, very helpful for us to practice this meditation during this anxiety course. And not only that, but also you can practice this meditation as your core meditation. So it does help us because it enables us to feel more connected with others and to realize that we're not alone and that everybody has the same kind of or similar kind of emotions and feelings and thinking as we do. So it helps allay our fears. It also makes us more resilient to stress and anxiety. And this has been borne by the research that has been done into this form of practice. So let's dive straight in. And this meditation is very simple. It's just a repetition of 4 very simple phrases. And one of the keys to it is our intentionality, our intention to offer these good wishes to others, as well as ourselves. So perhaps when we practice tonight, you can have that at the back of your mind. So let's begin by finding a comfortable and relaxed yet alert posture for ourselves. You can close your eyes if you like, or if you like to keep them open them just a little bit, but gaze downwards with a gentle, soft focus. And we'll begin by offering these loving kindness wishes to ourselves. Say them silently at a pace and rhythm that is comfortable and pleasing to you. And just keep repeating these phrases. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy. May I live peacefully. Take your time. It's good to be relaxed when you do this practice. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy. May I live peacefully. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy. May I live peacefully. Now bring to mind someone who's helped you before in the past, someone who has been good to you or has been kind to you. If you can think of someone like this, recall their image, bring them to mind. You can say their name silently to yourself. And with the spirit of gift giving, offer them these wishes. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. It's going to happen quite frequently that your mind will wander off or get distracted by stories or thoughts or images. If you notice that happening, don't worry. Just realize that it's perfectly normal. And then all you have to do is try to let that go, the distractions go, and bring yourself gently back to repeating the phrases again. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. Next, think of someone who you know who might be going through a difficult or challenging time. Maybe they're having difficulties with work, or their relationships, or with their finances. See if you can think of someone like this. Bring them to mind, and with a spirit of generosity and gift giving, offer them these words. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. Next, bring to mind a neutral person, a person who you do not have strong likes or dislikes towards. It's probably someone at the supermarket checkout or at your local coffee shop, someone you see infrequently, and someone who you don't know very well. See if you can call up someone like that and offer them these wishes. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. Now let's extend our wishes of loving kindness to all beings in air, in water, or on land. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy. May all beings live peacefully. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy. May all beings live peacefully. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy. May all beings live peacefully. When you're ready, start to open your eyes and return your awareness to the room. So, thank you very much for your practice. I hope you found that helpful. So now we're going to conclude our talk series on Zen and calming your anxiety. So if you made it through and followed us all through the 9 or the 8 previous talks, thank you and congratulations. This is our final talk, and I hope that by this point you come to realize that anxiety is completely natural, that it is part of our evolutionary survival mechanism, and that everyone gets anxious at some point or another. And although it feels uncomfortable, what our anxiety is trying to do is to protect us from harm, even though it may not be doing it very skillfully. So instead of making it about slaying your anxiety dragon, we're actually much better off thinking of taming it so that we can live with it, like a slightly awkward friend or relative, you know. So over the last 8 weeks, we've covered a lot of ground. And it is clear that we can all develop the skills to be able to handle anxiety more skillfully and to learn to be more comfortable with the uncomfortableness of the anxiety experience. But, you know, I don't want to say that it's a magic bullet because just because you've done this course, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to banish anxiety from your life forever. But none of us can. You know, I get anxious sometimes too. But what you have are a set of skills and some knowledge to use when you have some anxious moments. And you can use them to help you become braver and less fearful. So anxiety is data, and it's something that our body is telling us to pay attention to something which may be harmful uh, to us. So if we might just notice this, then we would not get caught up in our spin cycle in our head. So, but quite often we just go directly into our, this spinning, our heads, our thoughts are spinning, and we get anxious, and it's just this downward spiral. So, there's one useful mnemonic that can help you take a moment before you get into your downward spiral. And it is this: stop. Stop with two P's at the end. S-T-O-P-P. And I'll explain to you what it is. So this stop technique is about practicing the art of giving yourself a little bit of space, a split second maybe, between the anxiety stimulus and your reaction to it. So by noticing what your triggers are and just hitting pause, just like hitting the pause button on a video or whatever, or a song that you're listening to, you can, even though it's just a very short moment, you give yourself some space to respond, which is a choice that you can have, rather than to just automatically react. So then you can regain some control over anxious reactions which are problematic. And also anger or persistent negative thinking. It can take a very short time, like a few seconds, or it may take longer, like a minute or two. But if you practice it, then it gets easier to do. It becomes a kind of habit that you can tap into quite quickly. So it does take some patience and perseverance, and you may forget or miss an opportunity to stop. But don't worry if that happens. We're all human. And whenever that happens, don't be hard on yourself. So the first is S for stop, which means to pause for a moment to notice what is taking place. And it sounds maybe a bit too obvious, but it does actually make a difference. And sometimes it may be helpful to include some physical sound or movement, like you click your fingers and you stop, or you tap the table and tell yourself stop. And then when you are able to kind of just insert that momentary pause, you can then take a breath, T. So breathing is something that we do automatically. It happens about 20,000 times a day. But we can use our breath. It's available to us. It's a resource to help us ground ourselves, to anchor ourselves to our reality, our present moment. So breathe slowly with a sense of purpose. Breathe slowly in and out, and then notice how it feels as the air enters and exits your body. So then, when you're doing that, observe. O for observe. Continue your awareness of your breath, but then allow your awareness to expand to include your whole experience in that moment. Notice what kind of thoughts are going through your head. Notice what sort of feelings you're having in your body. Notice what sort of emotions are occurring. Do you have any kind of urges to react in a certain way or any resistance or something? So at this point, we're not trying to change anything. We're just noticing what is happening here. And then also don't judge. It's just noticing the mental and emotional landscape that is occurring right now and be non-judgmental about it. So that's how things are right now. That's how it is. Okay. Then P, to take some perspective. You can explore some, step back a little bit, and give yourself some space to take a little bit of a perspective, maybe a fresh perspective. You can ask yourself, have I thought like this in the past? Is there some good evidence for this thought? What would I tell a friend about what's happening? So this is not about judging yourself again. None of this is about judging ourselves, but instead giving yourself some space between you and your thoughts and just seeing them like you're looking at something from the outside looking in. You're just getting a fresher perspective on what's going on. Okay. Then you can decide how best to relate to your thoughts or emotions or your feelings. Then the next P is practice what works for you and then proceed with it. So this is the last step, to look into your toolkit for the skills that you have learned. What have you done in the past that has been helpful in a similar situation? And this might, and maybe often does, involve delaying your responses for a while. Give yourself permission to come back to the problem when the intensity of the trigger has kind of died down a bit. What you may decide on may be problem focus, which is something that directly targets the issue that triggers you, or emotion focus, which is something to help instead with the impact of the trigger that it has had on you. So, but as you move through these steps, it gives you a real chance of responding in a way that best meets your needs and keeps you able to deal with the stuff and keep going. So this STOP, S-T-O-P-P, gives us a chance to regain our mental and emotional balance. And do give it a try the next time you feel your anxiety creeping up on you. And, remember, you will get better with practice. We can all train ourselves to be braver, to be better at facing our fears and anxieties. And to this end, I want to share you a story, a true story, about a young girl named Ella Manners. This really is one of my favorite stories I've ever read. And it inspired and also moved me. And I hope it will you too. So Ella was 9 when this story was published. She's now 13 and lives in Nashville, Tennessee. Now this is excuse me, this is a part of the United States where tornadoes are a frequent occurrence. Okay, so they have tornado sirens erected, you know, everywhere to warn people that there's a tornado coming. So then you know, hide in a safe place, usually in the basement. So Ella is scared of many things: tornadoes, throwing up, fire, monsters, going upstairs by herself or going to the garage. But her biggest fears, her biggest, like, top number one fear or fears are throwing up and tornadoes. Those are the two things that scare her the most. So it just so happens that there is a tornado siren right beside her house. And when it goes off, it is very, very loud, and she can hear it through the walls. It's very clear. So she gets very scared of this sound, even though no tornado has ever hit her house. So she has a kind of anxiety, which is called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So what this does is that it takes what she fears and magnifies it so that it becomes enormous. So instead of just being scary, throwing up and tornadoes become really terrifying, you know. So one day, her mom, called Katie, went to pick her up from the school. And then her teachers rushed over and took her to the toilet. And then she found Ella curled up on the floor saying over and over again, "I'm going to be sick, I'm going to be sick." So Ella believed that if she moved or stood up, she's going to be sick. So mother couldn't do anything. Nothing she said could help her daughter. So Ella's brain was just stuck in this loop of anxiety. And then eventually, you know, mother had to carry her and to the car and just drive her home. So what happened was that the school had a tornado drill that day. And when she heard the sound of the tornado siren going, she was terrified. Then she tried to tell herself, "No, I'm not going to be sick, I'm not going to be sick," because the fear would make her throw up. But then as she got to the bathroom, she threw up. So the two worst fears in her life happened to her at the same time. So you can imagine how awful it must be for her. Can you imagine? I don't know if any of us can imagine the two things we are most scared of in our life, and then they happen to us at the same time. So after that, things just got worse. And then she just became kind of consumed by these fears. And her parents, they really tried to help her, but they didn't know how until they found a fear facers camp run by the University of Florida, where the camp was designed specifically for children with anxiety disorders and OCD. So they signed up Ella, and then they drove as one family all the way down. It was a very long drive, from Texas to Florida. And then one of the counselors, after she registered, asked her, can you name your OCD? And then she thought about it and she said, "Oh, yeah, I'll call it OCIE, OCIE." So it was kind of cute. But the thing is this: if you give your OCD a name, it can help separate the identity between yourself and it, so you don't identify yourself as the same thing. So then you don't think of your OCD as yourself. So even so, she found that OC was very sneaky, and she would hear it telling her that she's going to be sick, she's going to be sick, she's going to be sick. And that made her feel worse. But then the counselors were very skillful. They gave her a strategy to kind of negate this, to kind of defeat OC. And what she was told to do was just agree with OC. Yes, I'm going to get sick. Yes, I'm going to get sick. And that worked because eventually OC just gave up. Oh, that's not fun, you know. You're not fighting back. So that really helped her, even though she didn't know how. And when she was okay with this, they started exposure therapy, which is one of the ways to deal with anxiety. And to expose her to her fears. So they began with tornadoes. First, they showed her videos of tornadoes, starting with easy ones, then going to more difficult ones as she got more comfortable. Then, when she was able to handle things without a problem, they took her to the bathroom. And there, they played the tornado sirens. First, very softly, so that she could get used to it, then louder and louder. Then, in her mind, she heard OC, her OCD, saying to her, there's going to be a tornado, there's going to be a tornado. And then she remembered what the counselors told her, and she didn't fight with it. She just said, yes, there is, yes, there is. And after many practices, many repetitions, she became okay with this. So now what's her other big fear that they had to deal with, which was throwing up. So I don't know if you remember the movie Pitch Perfect. There's a beginning scene where all the singers throw up. They showed her that. And then she found that, okay, I can deal with that. And then next, they went to the bathroom where they simulated, she had to put water in her mouth and pretended that she was throwing up. And, you know, spit it out like she was vomiting. And that was okay. You know, she said that was still quite okay. And then the next thing they did was the counselors, not Ella, the counselors started to chew on some stuff which tasted pretty bad. Jelly beans with funny taste in it, like joke beans. And then all Ella had to do was to watch them. Then all of them pretended to throw up, you know, making all these horrible noises into the toilet bowl. And then they asked her to look into the toilet bowl. Then she couldn't do it. She completely refused because that was her most scariest thing. And by this time, she was already crying. And she still refused to look into the toilet bowl. So eventually, to try to get around this, what the counselors did was to say, okay, you don't have to look. But then they took a picture of the toilet bowl with a handphone and then showed it to her. And then she still didn't want to look. You know, she still couldn't, she turned away and couldn't look at the photo of the toilet bowl. Then, at that moment, something quite surprising happened. You know, Ella said, she thought to herself, what did I come all this way for? You know, why did I make this long trip? You know, so she decided, I'm going to look at the picture. So she turned, looked at the picture, and then she stared at it for a really long time. This picture of, you know, the pretend vomit that the counselor said spit into the toilet bowl. She looked at it for a long time. Then, without saying a word, slowly she took 2 steps forward and looked into the toilet bowl. And when this happened, all the counselors started cheering and clapping. And the mother was waiting outside, hearing this, and heard all this loud cheering, clapping. And she went inside and saw all of them doing high fives and high-fiving Ella, and everybody was clapping and cheering, very happy. Then they all made a tunnel for Ella to come out, And then the first thing that she did was run to her mother and hugged her tightly. Then her mom asked her, what was it like? Ella, what was it like? Then Ella said, I felt really brave. I was really proud of myself. So that really helped Ella. But have her fears completely disappeared today? She says no. She still has her fears, but they're not as scary anymore. And that's quite amazing for a 9-year-old to have gone through, to be able to kind of manage her fears so they don't terrify her anymore. And that's why I love this story, because she's such a brave girl and amazing girl too. And she shows us what is possible to do with our anxieties and our fears with just a little bit of help from our friends and our family. So I think that's a very good example for us, and we can draw a lot of inspiration and hope from it. So what can we learn from her experience? We all want to avoid our fears and anxieties because they make us very uncomfortable or scared. But the key thing to learn from Ella's experience is to train yourself slowly to turn to face your fears. Then, after a while, you may find that, they're not so scary, as scary anymore. They may be a little scary, but you can handle it. So, it does take courage. But one of the things that we did talk about in a past talk is that bravery is something that you can train, and it's part of this exposure therapy. So you can train yourself to be braver and to face the things that you think are scary. And when you do, they aren't as scary anymore. So I think that you can do this. We can all do this as long as we have some willingness and determination. So thank you for joining our practice and for being a part of this series of talks. I hope that whatever your level of anxiety is, you are now armed with the knowledge that anxiety does not have to be a terrifying fire-breathing dragon, and you have some skills and be able to practice the tools to help you tame and learn to live with it. So, please go be brave. So thank you for being a part of this talk and our practice. Starting tomorrow, I'll be taking a break for 6 weeks for some self-practice, but we will still be uploading videos online on Mondays and Thursday nights. Some past videos which we've recorded, which we'll select, and so that you don't have to miss out on your practice. So thank you, and I hope you have a good end to the week. Bye.